Hello! Thank you so much for joining me. We are gonna have some fun today. We're gonna create a chocolate chip cookie bar. I have an idea for a recipe and I thought it'd be fun to just sort of create it together. And by the way, they are also gluten-free and vegan as well. But I also wanted to introduce you to my new mixer. I call her Astrid. And she's an Ankarsrum from Sweden, but they're sold in the US now, and they are unbelievable. Besides, there's just so many features about the mixer that I love. And I was like, firm camp KitchenAid before, but as great and as well as a KitchenAid works, this is, I think, far superior. It has a larger bowl, like a 7.5 quart bowl. It's got a much stronger motor. I think it's 1500 watts instead of like 300 and something. And instead of a center paddle that beats everything into submission, you get this roller and a scraper, this spatula, and the two of them work together to gently knead your batter or your dough, your bread dough. It did an amazing job on some bread dough, some gluten-free bread dough that I made last weekend. That it came out the best that it's ever come out. But although you wouldn't think that you would want to knead cookie dough, the way this whole machine works, it did a fantastic job when I tried it out last week. And I will tell you too, I've only had this a week, so I've only made a couple things in it, but I am blown away. So I want to show you how it works while we're creating the cookies. And I will say too that so the Ankarsrum, instead of having the center paddle and that moves around and spins around, the bowl on this spins around, and then what you do is you insert your roller, they call it a roller, and then you put in your paddle, and then you put in your ingredients, and it slowly will mix them together. But there is a great, there's a little, I don't know if you can see, there's a speed dial on it and a timer, so you can just sort of set it and set it and forget it, and let it go and do its thing while you're getting everything else together. And before we start the cookies, I also want to show you that it did come with a separate bowl that goes on it with whisks and cookie paddles that you can do meringues or aquafaba or whipped cream or whatever you want to do in this. And although you can do cookies with this bowl and the cookie beaters, when I tried this last week, it worked so well. I was like, I'm just gonna stick with the way they do it in Sweden and stick with this bowl, and it works really, really well. So let's get started with the cookies. Okay, so I'm crazy for chocolate chip cookies. I've written a lot of books on chocolate, and I feel like my chocolate chip cookies have sort of been an evolution over time as I've become gluten-free, and well, before that I became vegan and stuff, so I'm always kind of tweaking them. But what I love is a good chocolate chip cookie bar, in a 9 by 13 pan. And so I thought, let's go ahead and create a recipe with some sea salt on the top, just a basic, easy, really easy recipe that would be great that you can freeze and everything else. So this is kind of based on a few other recipes that I've made in the past, and let's go ahead and get started. So for the flour, this is the all-purpose gluten-free flour that we have on Everyday Dish, and it's also on my website, juliehassan.com. And it has the lower amount of xanthan gum in it, so it has a half amount. So I use a half amount. I think the recipe calls for 4 teaspoons, but I use 2 teaspoons in the flour blend if I'm doing cakes or cookies or things like that, because you just want less hold. So this is what I've got here. I actually make a big crock of it on my counter. I'll show you. So I have one with half the amount of xanthan for cakes and cookies, and one with a full amount, and then one with no xanthan for other things. So it's pretty funny. But anyways, here is our flour. And then I was thinking that we'll use baking powder for this, because I have really good luck with using baking powder in my cookies, in my gluten-free cookies. And let me grab a knife. I think you could also do a combo of baking powder and baking soda in these, and it would work too. But let's go ahead and try, let's try 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So I have the equivalent of 2 cups of flour, which is 263 grams of the flour blend, because you always want to weigh, when you're doing gluten-free baking, you always want to weigh it. And then, so we got that. So we got the 2 teaspoons. And let's do, on the salt, probably maybe like a scant half teaspoon. You know what, since we're gonna be adding it on the top, let's do a 1/4 teaspoon and put that in. And I know that these are gonna be good no matter what, because they have chocolate chips in them, so that's always kind of fun when I'm creating a recipe. I know that no matter what, we'll still enjoy it, even if it's not like my favorite recipe. So, but this is pretty basic. 2 cups flour, leavening, salt, that's good. And then we're gonna go ahead and dump this in. Should we dump it in? Actually, I think, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Because it's, you know, a new mixer, I sometimes would try it a little bit differently, but actually let's do the, it probably doesn't make a difference at all, but let's go ahead and put in the oil and the sugar first, I guess, and blend that, and then go ahead. So for, this is a 1/2 cup, we don't want that. Okay, so for the sugar, I was thinking a 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar, which I already measured out, and a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. Have that. And then of course we need a lot of a really good vanilla. This one, whoops, I'm doing it sideways, is my favorite, from Nielsen Massey. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. This one is their Madagascar Bourbon vanilla, which is amazing. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add, let's be crazy and add a tablespoon. There we go. And then for the fat, let's do 1/3 cup. I've already melted it, of melted coconut oil. It should probably work with regular oil too, but I really like the coconut flavor. It's like kind of a light coconut flavor of the unrefined, of the virgin, and it's melted. So let's, here, I'll pour it in and do it this way. Normally I use liquid measuring cups, but for this, with the oil, I think this is fine, and it's easier to get it out. So let's put that 1/3 cup. And then let's go ahead and turn this on. You can see how it works. I'll bring the camera right inside so you can see. In fact, let me do that now. Okay, so you can see inside, it's got the arm here with the roller, and then it's got the spatula scraper. So let's go ahead and turn this on. Oh yeah, there we go. Isn't this cool? So this will kind of spin around. You can kind of make it go towards, by moving that. You can also, here I can't do it with the thing, but we can adjust this. I think it needs to go actually here. It needs to go closer to the wall, the side, to get it moving. So let's just do that. I love the control though that you have in this, not to mention the 7.5 quart bowl is really cool. All right, can you see? All right, so I'd say that we just about kind of cream that together. I really find with the vegan gluten-free cookies, and especially if you're using the coconut oil, the creaming isn't something that was as crazy important as it was with like butter and sugar when there was a lot of it in a traditional cookie recipe. So here, let me put that there. All right, now we're gonna turn this to low, and we're gonna add in our dry ingredients. But I'm gonna add half because I just realized I need some milk in this. And of course I'm almost out of milk. Hey Noah, could you grab me some oat milk? Thank you. All right, and I'm going to add the same amount of oat milk, so 1/3 cup. We might need a little bit more. Oh, good. There we go. We're gonna add that in. Let's turn the speed up. All right, I'm gonna grab you. So you can see. All right, we need to get this moving. All right, it's gonna need more milk in here, I think. At least probably another tablespoon or two, but let's see, maybe if we turn the speed up. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and add in a little bit more milk. We'll do it by, we'll do it by the tablespoon. Let's see. All right, here's 1 tablespoon. Let's do 2. There we go, to be exact. All right, and because this, I mean, there's so much volume in here, this recipe could totally be doubled. I mean, if you wanted 2 9 by 13 pans of cookies. I mean, that's what's so amazing. Normally my KitchenAid was so small that I could only do 1 batch at a time. All right, here, let's turn this back on. There we go. And that little bit helped. Let's grab you. Maybe we need a little bit more milk in there. Yeah, I'm thinking that the volume of this could be a little higher. But the beauty of this is that it does a kneading, especially when it's doing bread dough, it kneads it in such a slow and gentle way that they say that you actually need a lot less liquid in there, which is kind of amazing. There we go. Ooh, it's working its way through. Gluten-free baking, you don't have to worry about it getting tough from the gluten being activated. Sorry, as I'm talking, I'm like so fascinated just watching this spin around. I don't even need to touch it. I don't. Okay. So now I think that we can go ahead and add in the chocolate chips. So I'm going to shut that off. Do the chocolate chips. I mean, seriously, this could not be easier. I can't see how it would be bad at all. Like I said, it's kind of like an amalgamation of a few different chocolate chip cookie recipes that I've done in the past. And so that I'm really excited about. Let me adjust that a little bit. There we go. So this I'm really excited about because I know that they're gonna come out pretty good. I'm thinking, oh, you know what we need? Here we go. So usually when I do chocolate chip cookies, I do about a cup, but I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna do a little bit more. Also, I think this would be great with some cacao nibs would be delicious in here, and some nuts would be really good. I don't have any nuts at the moment, but next time I think I'll do them with hazelnuts, which would be, I mean, how can hazelnuts be bad in any way? All right, let's put this back on, give it a little mix. But the great thing is, I don't know if you can see, but you can set, can you see that? The timer. So, you know, I could do it like that, and then it will just slowly kind of work its way, work its magic, which is great. Because this is gonna take, let's see. It's moving. And also, in the KitchenAid, I would stir in the chocolate chips by hand because they would just kind of get beaten into it, which was always a little weird. Yeah, it's moving. Okay. that down. I'm gonna turn the speed up a little bit so it moves. Oh yeah. Okay, come on, dough. That is such a beautiful cookie dough. Not that I think we have to keep eating it, but it's kind of fun to watch it go around. All right. We're gonna call that good. And let me set you down for a minute. Now that that is all mixed, I'm gonna unplug it, pull these out. But super simple to just kind of scrape it off the sides there. I mean, honestly, I just love this mixer so much. I will be surprised if there's anything that it can't do. Old Astrid is going to be a lot of fun. All right, and then we will loosen this arm and pull, whoops, pull that up. And then, there you go. Look at that dough. Looks gorgeous. All right, I have to take a little taste. That's really good. And you could add more chocolate chips to it. So if this cookie bar comes out good, I will post the recipe and put the link below and post it on my blog so you can make it. Oh my gosh, look at that. So many chocolate chips. And then with putting the coarse Malden sea salt, can you see that, on the top, will be amazing. All right. I'm also going to show you how I grease my pan. So this is a 9x13 pan. I should also add, I love these USA pans. They just, everything comes out, they clean really well. They're lovely. I think they're made in the US. Well, I guess that's why it'd be called USA pan. They're made in the US. Anyways, it's a great pan. Slowly, I've been kind of replacing a lot of my pans with these, but I do have a nice mixture. All right. So I lightly grease the pan, then this right here. Let's see if you can see. Can you see? I don't know if you can see. All right. Well, let's hold on one second. Figure this out. All right. Then you take your piece of parchment paper, and I buy a huge box of these that are already kind of pre-cut for the half sheet size. And I set it on top. Okay, this is where I'm gonna, bear with me. Let's see if we can figure this out. I think if there we go. Can you see? All right. And what I do is I put it like this, kind of poke into the corners like that, and then I press them straight. So then that way it's really easy for your cookie bars to come out and just be able to pull them out when it's done. All right, let's put you back up. Hopefully you're not totally dizzy from making these cookie bars. All right, then you have to spray it again. So, do that. And if you are gluten-free, you want to make sure that whatever spray or grease you use in your pan is gluten-free too, because some of them have flour in it, and you don't want to use that, any of the ones with flour. Sometimes I'll, rub a little oil in there or brush a little melted coconut oil, but really, honestly, the spray cans are just so easy. Then let's put that in there. Ooh, yum. This really is a gorgeous, gorgeous cookie dough batter. Oh, this looks so good. So I think we used a third of a cup plus 2 tablespoons. So I will have to remember that to write it down. All right, then I'm gonna show you a little trick on pressing this into the pan without getting your hands totally messy. Hold on one second. Ta-da, plastic wrap. I use plastic wrap for like crazy things, not really for wrapping food, but other little tips and tricks in the kitchen. So this works really well to help spread down. Oh, you can't see again. All right, let's see if we can do this so you can see. All right. This way you can spread it into the pan without getting your hands super, super sticky. You definitely want to spread it into the corner, and you want it in an even layer so that they bake evenly. All right, so now we have our cookie bars pressed into the pan, and we're gonna sprinkle some Malden sea salt on top. But I'm also, here's another little trick I like to do, and just sprinkle on a few more chocolate chips so that it's just completely chocolate chips. So we got a few more, and take the, well, I think that plastic piece is done. Let's take one more. This will come off. Okay. We've got this. So you sort of use it as a glove, I guess, and you could totally use a glove. All right, let me see if you can see that. Okay, chocolate chips are loaded in, locked and loaded. And now we'll do the salt. I pretty much use this as a finishing salt, so I don't really use it so much for cooking because it has these little tiny, I don't know if you have ever looked at it up close, but let's see if I can show you. It's sort of a pyramid shape. So each one has this triangular shape to it, and it retains the crunch. So you have a little bit of crunchy salt on there. So here, let's put this like this so you can see. And we just do a nice little salty top. Not too much because you don't want anybody to have their blood pressure raised too much, but there you go. So now we're gonna go ahead and bake it. 350 oven, I'm thinking probably 25 minutes. So I'll be back. I'm gonna go put it in the oven, and I'll be back and we can check them out. Okay. All right, just pulled it out of the oven, and I wanna show you what it looks like, how to tell. So I don't know how the lighting is for you right there, but it's like lightly browned around the edges, lightly golden. When you touch it, it feels firm. Hopefully it's not over-baked, but the only way that we'll be able to tell is by cutting into it. And it probably needs to cool for a little bit, like most gluten-free things do. But, okay, let's try cutting into it and see. And how can I, there. Oh, my husband is gonna help me with this. All right, so what I think will work, this is really hot though, so I'm gonna put the mitt, is to just score it right now and then let it cool. And if this recipe isn't perfect, then we'll do it again and we'll make it perfect. But I think scoring really does help. I think that actually this could have been baked like 20 to 25 minutes. This was 25. And it'll be interesting to see if we need like maybe a couple minutes less. Also, every oven bakes differently. So what works in my oven might take a few minutes longer or a few minutes shorter in your oven. Here we go. All right. I'm not gonna try these now because they're gonna be too hot and they have to cool down. But one more time, I just wanna share my love for the Ankarsrum mixer. This is amazing. Oh, and also, I mean, hello, let me just move that. I totally forgot to mention the color. Is this not the best color? I love this color. I think it's called creme or cream. So pretty. So anyways, there we go, back on me, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like and subscribe to this video and to our Everyday Dish channel. And remember that all of the recipe links will be below that we will share on my website, juliehousen.com. And hopefully, can you please keep your fingers crossed that this recipe comes out amazing and that I can share it. So thanks for experimenting with me in the kitchen. I'll see you soon. Bye. You didn't think I'd leave you hanging there, did you? I want you to know these are so good. They're really good. Here, we might have already cut into them. They're still really hot, really warm, but so good. Look at that ratio of chocolate chips to cookie dough. They're perfect. So you're gonna wanna make these stat. This is definitely my new favorite chocolate chip cookie bar, and I expect more variations coming up. So run and make them quickly. Remember the recipe, the link below is gonna be on my website, juliehassan.com. Thanks for joining me.